the hour the world turns off and your mind turns on. Imagine your room at 2:17 a.m. The street outside is silent. No cars passing, no voices, no movement. The glow from your phone has faded. Your body feels heavy. Your eyes burn slightly from exhaustion. You should be asleep, but your mind is alert. You turn to one side, replay something you said earlier. Reconstruct a conversation that seemed normal at noon, but now feels charged with meaning. Revisit a decision that felt small, but suddenly feels permanent. You adjust your pillow, shift positions, close your eyes tighter. Instead of slowing down, your thoughts accelerate. You begin negotiating with tomorrow. What if I say this? What if they meant that? Maybe I should have. What if this turns into? Here's what most people misunderstand. The night does not create anxiety, it removes interference. During the day, you are protected by activity, emails, conversations, deadlines, noise, movement, screens. Your attention is constantly pulled outward. But when the world goes quiet, there is nothing left to distract you from your internal landscape. The silence isn't the problem. The silence is the amplifier. Everything emotionally postponed during the day begins to surface. Unprocessed tension, unanswered questions, subtle fears you didn't have time to feel, small insecurities you brushed aside. In the dark, they expand. And without external reference points, your mind becomes the only narrator. It feels like something is wrong, but nothing is happening. You are lying in a bed. In a room in relative safety, the acceleration is not danger. It is exposure. When productivity shuts down, identity gets louder. When distraction disappears, awareness increases. For many high-functioning people, this is the first moment of the day they are not performing. And being alone with your own mind can feel unfamiliar, even threatening. But what you are experiencing is not malfunction. It is unfiltered consciousness. The night simply removes the noise that normally prevents you from hearing yourself. And when that happens, the mind begins to speak, not to attack you, but because it finally has space. The alarm system that never received good night. There is a part of your brain that does not understand midnight. It doesn't know it's 2:17 a.m. It doesn't know the doors are locked. It doesn't know you are lying in a safe bed. It only knows one thing: protect. For thousands of years, survival required alertness in darkness. Night meant vulnerability. Any sound could signal danger. Your nervous system was shaped in that environment. The world evolved. Your biology did not. Today, threats are rarely physical. They are abstract. An email arriving tomorrow, a conversation that might go wrong. Financial uncertainty that hasn't happened. A relationship that feels slightly different. To your alarm system, uncertainty feels almost identical to threat. And at night, when external stimuli disappear, the internal system stays active. Without distraction, it searches for something to justify its activation. What if I lose that opportunity? What if I said the wrong thing? What if this becomes a bigger problem? Nothing is happening now, but the brain interprets lack of guarantees as risk. This is anticipatory anxiety. The brain prefers to predict the worst and be wrong, rather than predict the best and be caught off guard. So it exaggerates. Your heart speeds up slightly. Your breathing shifts. Your muscles tighten subtly. Then your mind asks, why do I feel this way? And it searches for justification. It finds a memory, a possibility, a doubt, and turns it into a scenario. Not because you are weak, not because you lack control, but because your protection system never learned how to fully power down. It knows how to react. It knows how to anticipate. It does not know how to conclude that Right now, everything is okay. Your brain does not clearly distinguish between imagined threat and immediate danger. If you imagine losing something important, your body reacts as if the loss is already happening. That is the root of nighttime acceleration, not madness. A protection system operating out of context until it receives a clear signal of safety. It keeps patrolling, even in silence, even in darkness, even when nothing is happening. The internal catastrophe machine. Once the alarm system is activated, your thoughts shift in tone. They stop being neutral. They become cinematic. A short message becomes rejection. A neutral comment becomes hidden criticism. A normal meeting becomes a threat to stability. What actually happened? Very little. But your mind fills empty spaces with worst-case outcomes. The brain dislikes uncertainty. When information is incomplete, it creates narrative. And at night, without context, that narrative leans negative. Possibility becomes probability. Probability becomes near certainty. They replied briefly. Becomes, they're upset. Becomes, I messed something up. Becomes, this could have consequences. Notice the escalation. No new facts appeared. Only interpretation expanded. The mind believes it is preparing. It believes it is being responsible. But constant anticipation is not strategy. It is exhaustion. You replay conversations. Micro-details. Facial expressions. Tone shifts. Your body reacts as if you are being judged in real time. Heart racing. Stomach tightening. Breathing shallow. But no one is there. You are alone in your room. The brain confuses imagination with evidence, and resistance increases intensity. When you try to suppress the thought, you signal urgency. Morning changes perspective. Light restores proportion. What felt catastrophic becomes manageable. Because nighttime thinking is not objective. It is protective exaggeration. And until you recognize that not every thought deserves authority, the catastrophe machine keeps running. Not because you are irrational, but because your brain would rather overestimate risk than underestimate it. What feels unstable beneath the surface? Not every restless mind is afraid. Sometimes it is unmet. During the day, you function. You deliver. Respond. Solve. Perform. But human beings are not sustained by productivity alone. There is an internal structure that requires stability. Safety. Belonging. Recognition. Meaning, you may be financially stable, yet emotionally uncertain, surrounded by people, yet internally alone, advancing professionally, yet feeling directionless. These tensions don't interrupt meetings, they wait. And when silence arrives, they surface. At night, your mind asks structural questions. Am I truly secure? Am I on the right path? Do I matter? Am I falling behind? These are not dramatic questions. They are foundational. When a core psychological need feels unstable, the nervous system resists shutdown. Because sleep requires trust. Trust that you can let go temporarily. If something internally feels unresolved, the system stays alert, not because you are overthinking, but because your foundation doesn't feel fully stable. The mind is not trying to torture you, it is trying to reinforce structure. And until stability is felt, rest feels premature. The conversation you would never say out loud. There is a voice that rarely speaks during the day, it waits for quiet. It is the voice of comparison, of subtle shame, of self-measurement. I should be further. I said too much. I'm not enough. These are whispers, but repetition gives them weight. You replay conversations. Search for microsigns of rejection. Because belonging has always equaled survival. If someone seems distant, your system investigates. Not to punish you, to prevent exclusion, but it overcorrects. Instead of I made a mistake, it becomes I am flawed. At night, identity feels more exposed, without performance, without roles, just you. And the mind starts auditing your life. Progress. Status. Choices. Comparison intensifies, and darkness. Shame is not loud. It is persistent. Thinking feels like control, but replaying is not repair. Often your mind accelerates because a part of you feels unseen. UNVALIDAT. Unforgiven. UNACKNOWLEDED. Until it is met with compassion, it returns, not as attack, as request. When the mind begins to run, when thoughts accelerate, fighting them increases intensity. Instead, acknowledge them. This is a prediction. This is fear. This is a worst-case scenario. Labeling creates distance. Then ask, can this be solved right now? At 2 a.m., usually not. Separate fact from interpretation. Fact, A responded briefly. Interpretation, they're upset. Anxiety lives in interpretation. Shift to the body. Unclench your jaw. Relax your shoulders. Slow one breath. The body teaches the brain safety. Replace, what if it fails? With, if it does, I will handle it. That is not blind optimism. It is evidence-based trust. You have handled difficulty before. You will again. The goal is not silence. It is reduced urgency. Thoughts are events, not commands. Nothing is happening right now. There is a simple truth anxiety struggles to accept. In this exact moment, nothing is happening. No meeting. No crisis. No judgment. You are lying down, breathing. Your brain may simulate scenarios, but simulation is not reality. Look around. Even in darkness, there is structure. Walls. Stillness. Air moving in and out of your lungs. Your heart is beating steadily. It has carried you through harder days than this. You survived conversations you feared, moments of uncertainty, decisions that once felt unbearable. Tomorrow exists, but not yet. You do not need to solve it tonight. There is no emergency in this room. Nothing is chasing you in this hour. You can soften. You can breathe. You can rest now.